1. Thought that I was dying out, getting a little too old to put out, and all of my glory days had all but faded away. I was depressed last night when I decided to hang my head. My guardian angel came and this is what she said. Welcome to the place where dreams come alive. Put a smile on your face, 'cause we're gonna have a good time. Welcome to the place where dreams come alive. Put a smile on your face.
Can be most effective when we are engaged in the political process, and there's no time like the present. One of our main goals is effective advocacy through active participation from you. Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything. Our efforts to keep you engaged and informed as to the importance of current events happening locally and abroad started 2 years ago. Our number one goal is to make a difference. We need you Join us at the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. Hello, my name is Baron Glass, host of the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. If your community is turning out well below other neighborhoods, elected officials will pay less attention to you, make fewer appearances, and fewer appeals to your neighborhood. Who votes has a powerful impact on public policy and local government. Voting is the cornerstone of American democracy, but sadly, far too few people vote. On November the 21st, make a difference. Go out and cast your vote for the candidate of your choice. Paid for by the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. We are honored to have you as a guest tonight and want to thank each of you for your faithful support. Without further delay, allow me to introduce to you Mr. Baron Glass. Mr. Glass, take it away.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. Voting is the cornerstone of American democracy. First off, I would like to thank each and every listener that's out there. I would also like to extend my warm welcomes to all of the distinguished listeners, as I said, who have tuned in from the month of July through tonight. As we know, it has been called election season of 2015. As the old saying goes, how happy we are to meet friends from afar and in and around the listening audience. We are looking forward to Saturday, November 21st of 2015, and we hope you are as well. I have heard that various listeners have learned a great deal about candidates, the election process, and the likes simply by tuning in to each individual broadcast from July till now. For me, it has been a great opportunity for us to learn from people and different cultures, different backgrounds, different religion, and different values. From all of us at the Smoking Glass Hour, we feel that we have built a listening audience, significant, and we ask that you keep tuning in and telling a neighbor and telling a friend about what's going on here on Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, on Thursday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, and any other night throughout the week that we decide to broadcast. Because we do impromptu broadcasts all the time, because we listen and talk about the most trending topics that are going on. We're not afraid to talk about racism. We're not afraid to talk about voting rights. We are not afraid to talk about women's rights, civil rights, and all other rights that are afforded to individuals within this country. In my view, I feel that that is admirable. Let's struggle together to accumulate knowledge and skills for realizing that our dream is just right in front of us. I want to say before we get off into the broadcast, last but not least, I hope that our broadcasts keep building friendships and interactions each night. And I hope that they will be instrumental in solving these many difficult problems that we face in today's world. Now, some may be out there saying, well, I don't like that guy. And you know what? That's fine. You don't have to like me because I might not like you. And that's fine. So we both, but even if you don't like me, you still can listen to the message and you still can come on this broadcast, because I believe that when two people that are on two different sides, they can sit down and talk. And at some point they may come to a middle of the road, or they may come to some type of common ground. We know that Saturday, November 21st, is the final election day of 2015. We also know that we have in the runoff for the state of Louisiana, Mr. John Bell Edwards up against David Vitter, United States senator. We know locally that we have Mr. David May, who is running for clerk of court against Miss Cherie Cox. Also in the runoff, we know that we have Mr. Clay Bennett, who is running against Mr. Courtney Dunn. And if you don't know, it's your fault. If you didn't vote, it's your fault. But you have the opportunity to come in on November the 21st, if you're registered, if you're eligible, to vote. Now, here's the thing. There were many people who said that they went out to vote. Lo and behold, they didn't know, and I'm assuming that they didn't know, that once you vote, a couple of days later, there is a way that you can find out who voted and who did not vote. So it turns out that there was a lot of LYING going on. Why did somebody choose to do that? I have the slightest idea. The point I'm trying to make is this. Stand for something or fall for anything. Tonight, before we start off, we're going to talk about several things. We know that upcoming next year, Caldwell Parish School Board will be talking and having a renewal. Okay, a renewal, but it will be advertised as something else, a continual tax. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you have to watch the language that is put in to get you to vote either for or against. And a renewal simply means that you are already paying for, and that renewal would be beneficial to the entire school system. Now, there's always people talking about how bad the school system is. Well, facts don't lie. We told you last week, we posted on social media that within the state of Louisiana, Caldwell Parish ranked fifth out of all of these school systems. We are a B school system, which means we are one letter grade from having an A+. So when you listen to all of these people out there on Facebook and all these other places talking about how bad the school system is, well, guess what? I challenge anybody within the state to put their school system against ours based on the amount of funds that we get federally, state, and locally, and see what we are doing versus what somebody else is doing. Our teachers work hard. Now, do we have 100% proficiency when it comes to teachers? No, we don't. I'll be the first to tell you. Can we make improvement? Yes, we can. But for what we're doing and what we have done, those teachers, those administrators, the superintendent, the former superintendent, Carla Tillett, deserves 100% accolades. So once again, the next time you hear somebody putting your school system down, regardless as to where they stay and what they say, tell them to check the facts. So tonight we're going to talk just a little bit to the candidates. Once again, we've always had the broadcast open for anybody who had enough courage to call in and talk live to the listeners. So tonight, I believe right now, I've just been notified, I believe candidate Clay Bennett and candidate David May is out there. David May, are you out there?
Yes, sir.
Clay Bennett, are you out there?
Yes, sir.
I know for a fact that it has been a long journey for you guys starting January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and now November the 19th of 2015. David May, tell us what it has been like and what you would like to make with regards to your final pitch to those who are out there listening and or may go back and listen to the archives regarding David May campaign for clerk of court in Caldwell Parish.
It's been a long 6 months for me. I don't know about Clay, but I'm sure it has for him too and all the other candidates. But yeah, just recapping on some of the other, the things I've talked about previously. I think leadership is one of the most important thing that a person can go into public office, because you're in charge of so many different people. The other thing is I feel like that people need to be cross-trained. I believe in continuing education. I mean, we never get anywhere without learning new things, and things are constantly changing. So you want your staff to be trained properly. That's just some of the main points I want to point out and just being proactive in what you're talking about, and I will do that.
Mr. May, let me ask you this. Now, we know that we stay in small towns, and small towns always somehow have rumors, misconceptions, miseducation, and all those other things. Is it anything that's out there that you have heard on the stomping ground that you'd like to address right here live tonight on the Smoking Glass Hour so the listeners will understand and know everything that they need to know about David May and his campaign?
Not really. I just I think we're in a different race when you get in these runoffs, and people are looking at it a little bit more closely and scrutinizing each candidate, and I feel like that I put forth the best effort I could put out there and what I want to do, and I think that any candidate needs to have a plan of action on what they want to do, and letting people know what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a big thing for me. And I did hear something about you today. You had a new title, Baron of Bama, so I didn't know if you knew that. A friend told me that, and I kind of laughed about it. So
I tell you what, David, I've been called the RACIST, all those other words, so I'm used to whatever it is that they want to call me. I accept all of them, but I don't own up to them. However, just a little humor out there. I appreciate that, David. Yes, I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm a Duke Blue Devil fan, and I am 100% anti-LSU. So I'll put that out there. I stand on what I say, and I love talking with different individuals and different people about what's going on, because it's good, David, we know, to have a lot of humor. We know that we have to make tough decisions. You sitting on the Collier Parish School Board, you've had to do that on many occasions. So for you to get out there and make a conscious decision, that shouldn't be too hard for you. But again, we know that people, for whatever reason, they have what they have, they believe what they believe, and that's fine. But let me ask you this, Dave, before I bring Clay in. When you look at November the 21st, are you having anything, by way of a get-together? And if so, where can your supporters meet you at? Where can they call you at if they need a ride to the poll? Tell us everything that they need to know for Saturday, November 21st.
Well, if they need a ride for the poll, just call me. It's 331-4027, area code 318. So I'll try to, do whatever I can do. To get them where they need, where they can vote and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As far as having a big event, don't really have anything planned for that. Just probably just going to, after tomorrow when I get through knocking on doors, whatever I haven't gotten through with, or I'm just going to probably just call it a day and just see what's going to happen Saturday. To finalize my things here. So that's kind of my plan.
Well, let me ask you this, David. Providing you prevail, how soon will you start, hitting the ground running with regards to the transition team? And if so, what is it that, your voters that's out there that's listening, your supporters, those who are still on the fence regarding, which way they want to go? What will you do? How long will you take? I know you'll probably take some time off, but what would your transition team be like if you've, in fact, thought about it as of yet?
Well, there won't be a transition team. I just want to take the existing staff and go in a different direction. So, I feel confident with the people that's in place and what their abilities are. I just want to. I look at these other clerks' offices when I just go into their offices and how efficient they are, and it's basically just using computer technology and scanning records and getting stuff in place to do that. So as far as the staff there, I have. The only thing we need there is just probably a little bit of training and moving ahead, and probably some, infrastructure upgrades, and just proceed with that kind of a plan.
Uh-huh.
But quick, I will be moving pretty quickly because you won't take office till July the 1st.
Right.
So if I do successful in this campaign, this election cycle here, I will be hitting the ground running pretty quickly, trying to figure, I want to look at some of these other systems that these other parishes are using and I'm sure they can give you the pros and cons on everything, and then move what you feel comfortable with and what you can afford to do. Start moving that direction. But yeah, I mean, you don't. I'm not going to let no grass grow up under my feet with something like that, because when July 1st comes in, I want to have a plan ready to go and be moving ahead.
Okay. David, before we let you go, tell us your voting number and for Saturday, November the 21st at, I believe voting starts at 6 or 7 o'clock, somewhere there, and I think it goes to 8 o'clock. But give us the voting number and make your final pitch to the voters of Caldwell Parish regarding David May, candidate for clerk of court in Caldwell Parish.
My vote number is number 73, and I want to tell everybody, they really need to get out. These elections are important, especially, because we got some big elections here. We got the sheriffs up, and people need to at least get out there and make a decision. Even if your candidate doesn't get in there, they still need to get out there and voice their opinion on who needs to be in there. And I understand that when you get these tough competitions with opposing candidates, that it's not a vote against you just because you don't like somebody, but you're just trying to get the best person for the job. So I urge all people to get out there and vote. And it's we have better turnout here. I think it was 62% or something like that. But like statewide, 39%. To me, that's pretty sad. When you got a governor election going on, people need to pay attention and get out there and make their voice be heard. So I encourage everybody to get out there and exercise that right, because it may come a point in time where you don't have that luxury. So you need to let your elected officials know. And the other thing is, it's just a 4-year contract with people. With your officials, if they don't do what they need to be doing, then you need to vote them out. So, I tell people that constantly, that they need to look at that, because it's just a 4-year contract with the people.
Okay. David May, candidate for clerk of court in Caldwell Parish, number 73, November 21st of 2015. Clay Bennett, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Clay. I know, as I just told David, that January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and now November the 19th of 2015 has been a long journey for Clay Bennett. Tell us just a little bit about everything else that have gone on since the open election back in October. What has Clay Bennett been doing? Whatever you want to tell the voters that's out there now, you may do so at this time.
Well, it has been a long journey. I put my first sign up, I believe, Easter weekend, and it's been full force since then. I started the first weekend in June going door to door, and I've been hitting it hard ever since then. Like David, I've done my best to hit every door in the parish. I know he has too, because I've run into him a couple of times on the campaign trail, and I've seen his cards and doors and stuff, because I know we both try to hit every door, and it's been a long process. I'm glad it's almost here. Whatever the outcome is, I'm ready for it to be over, and I know a lot of people in the parish are too. Okay.
Clay, we know that Saturday is coming up, and we know that people in rural areas, they need and depend on rides to the poll. Regarding Clay Bennett, candidate for sheriff, what information that you would like to provide to those that are out there listening now and who would go back and listen to the archive with regards to getting a ride to the poll?
Well, I have several volunteers lined up. I'm going to give you my cell phone number. It's 318-502-0118. I'll be at the Sheffis Museum again on Election Day, most of the evening anyway. I'll have plenty of food and fellowship. Anybody wants to come by, you just give me a call, and I'll be sure that one of these volunteers will go pick you up. There's no reason why, shouldn't be any excuse why you don't have a ride to vote, because I'm sure David's got plenty. I know I do too, to get you a ride there.
Well, I'll tell you, Clay, let me give you the same opportunity that I gave David, and would give anybody else the same opportunity were they to come on. We know that in small towns, and not just small towns throughout the country, that during election cycles, as you get to the final countdown, there may be things that's said, not said, true, untrue, understood, misunderstood, or whatever the case may be. Is there anything that you'd like to clear up live right here tonight so people will know what the facts are rather than listening to assumptions on any level?
Well, I just want to tell people that I have my own ideas. I have my own policies. I'm going to be my own person. Me and my opponents have got along really great. Some of the other supporters that might come across people and tell people what they want them to hear just to sway their support towards the other candidate. And it may not be true. And I want them to be sure not to listen to everything that you hear. If you hear something that you don't like, I want to have the opportunity to tell people my plans, and they can give me a call anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't listen to a lot of people in the public. They may be trying to sway you one way or the other.
Well, Clay, I know just for a point of reference and fact checking, January, July, August, September, October, and November, they can go back and listen to any archive that you have been on. There's been absolutely nothing that you have said negative about any candidate. I know that you did point out differences between you and any other candidate that's running, and that's expected in any election. So if an individual were to take the pointing out of differences, then I believe that's a personal problem rather than a problem with regards to you saying something one way, and that wouldn't just apply to you. That would apply to any other candidate that's out there. And once again, this is not in support of Clay Bennett. This is not in opposition of Clay Bennett and or David May, either way. So I want to make sure that people get the information straight because we know that there are some unlearned people, there are some uneducated people, and there are some misunderstanding people. So I like to make sure that when the smoke clear and the dust settle, everybody know what's going on. Clay, tell us what your voting number is for Saturday. And you noted that you will be at the Sheriff's Museum. So give us your voting number and make your final pitch to the voters and the listeners out there for Clay Bennett, candidate for sheriff in Caldwell Parish.
Okay, my voting number is number 65. I just want people to know that I've done my best to try to get my message out. I've never shied away from anything as far as your show or any ads or anybody that ever wanted to visit me. I've always been there. I want to be sure that they see me. I always stop whenever I see somebody in the yard, give them a chance to see me and talk to me and find out what my goals are. I've tried to do my best to do that, and I'll continue to do that. I've got a lot of people to go see tomorrow. And right up till Saturday, I'm going to be on the phone calling to make sure we get the vote out. That's the most important thing. 62% is not that good. It's better than it was statewide, but I think we can do better. I think we're going to do better Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you have heard live right here from Clay Bennett, candidate for sheriff in Caldwell Parish. Before Clay, you heard from David May, candidate for clerk of court. We're going to pause just briefly. We're going to play a couple of commercials. And if you guys out there on the line, just kind of hold. And any other callers that's out there, I'll bring you in as soon as we come back from the station identification break. So we'll be right back.
I feel that leadership in anything is the key to success. I have consistently shown this leadership ability throughout my entire career as a U.S. Marine, owner-operator of Riverton Timber Incorporated, District 1 school board member, and consulting forester. These positions often require problem-solving and sometimes tough decision-making, in which I have always used a common-sense approach. Currently, I work for a firm that manages thousands of acres of timberland across northeast Louisiana. We have the trust of our clients to manage their investments that is worth millions of dollars. My strong foundation for good leadership gives me the necessary insight to move the clerk's office in a new direction, including the use of new technologies that are currently being used in other clerk's offices across the state. Employing these technologies will add efficiency to the office and speed up the filing process. God has led me down many different paths that have given me the opportunity to learn the skills needed for the clerk of court position. For strong and competent leadership in our parish, vote David May, number 73, in the upcoming and final election for the clerk of court. Elect a proactive clerk of court. Vote number 73, David May. This is paid political advertising by the campaign to elect David May, Clerk of Court of Caldwell Parish.
Helping our veterans. During this campaign, I have had the opportunity to visit with many people, and in doing so, I realized the need to help our veterans. One way I would like to help is to provide transportation to their appointments. Other parishes such as Franklin and Richland already provide this service to our veterans. Our veterans need to be taken care of. Just like police officers, veterans have put their lives on the line to protect our country. I believe we should give back to them. At this point, I don't know what kind of budget the sheriff's office has, but if at all possible and the budget allows, I want to implement this program. Elect Clay Bennett, number 65. Paid for by Clay Bennett. This is political advertisement paid for by Clay Bennett for sheriff.
We are back broadcasted live with the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. Tonight we're talking local and state politics, the runoff election for November the 21st of 2015. If you're out there listening, you want to call in, you can call in and talk to us live right now at 773-897-6398. Once again, 773-897-6398. And I believe we have a caller out there. The last two digits, 37. Caller 37, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. We're talking tonight about local and state politics. Of course, we have a runoff election going on in Caldwell Parish. What would you like to say to us? Talk to us about anything that you have a concern about, or just in general. Just talk to the Smoking Glass Hour and let your voice be heard.
First off, I would like to voice my opinion on the runoff. I would like something different in Caldwell Parish. School changes, money that needs to go to the schools, anything that's political to me does not need to be as far as limelight on the schools. The schools need to get more help. The kids do. That way that keeps the kids, the children, the teenagers out of the drugs, out of running the streets, getting in trouble, had we have some sort of way to fix the community as a whole, not just as the sheriff, not just as the deputy sheriff, or the town, just as a whole, as a community. I believe that there are a lot of issues that are going on in Caldwell Parish that not only the citizens, but the political figures in Caldwell Parish are totally unaware of. And if things could get fixed and not be on a political level, I think it would be so much better for the children, the upcoming generation. There would be no hatred, no racism. Everything would be positive. The kids would not have any complaints as far as schools, computers, any type of, just say sweethearts, when they do the sweethearts or rodeo. Give that money to the schools and to the community to help the kids. Bring it up. Just boost it. Things like that, I think, is going to help with the church. Not only political, but with schools, the kids, our upbringing, because they are our future nation. They are our future leaders. So if we keep letting them down, with the different political, different demographic issues, then we're not going to have a future at all.
So, Carla, let me ask you this, because I'm listening specifically what you're saying. Are you saying that politics has been or is playing a role, and as a result of that, it is stopping progress? Is that basically what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, definitely, because I can tell you, being my age, my daughter being in high school, graduating in the 2010-2011 era, there was never a ethnical, a color, a race, ethnicity. There was nothing in the way of that. There was no limelight on that. There was, if anything, that brought people closer in our community. Now it's gotten so political that the children are watching the news and these riots and what's going on in Paris, and so it's bringing so much chaos, and these children are so confused, so they bring it in these small towns, and it should not be. These kids have always been stuck together. They love one another, no matter what color, what race, what ethnicity. I mean, anything. If you were from the rich part of town, if you were from the poor part, hey, nobody cared. Everybody got along, and everybody tried to work together to make money for the community. Keeping it within that generalized area is where that community will boost. So whoever gets sheriff, whoever gets any official election, they get voted in. Hey, to me, they need to completely focus on our new generation. Kids that are coming up now, not what was in the past. That's gone. That's done. If we can communicate and focus on the kids now, hey, all that in the past will be gone. So I'm going for whomever. It don't matter to me who gets sheriff, even if you or I do, as long as it is boosting and promoting and helping out the community 100% and boosting these kids. Hey, I'm 150% for that.
So let me ask you this, caller. When we and I won't hold you too long, but I love to engage, especially when it's talking about issues and topics that I like to talk about that most people are afraid to talk about, and most people are in denial to talk about. So when we talk about, regardless as to who prevails in any election, would you like to see the community pull together, get behind those individuals or that individual so we can move forward? The election is over with. It's the next day. It's time to pool everybody together so we can focus on the millennials. And when we focus on the millennials, we secure a brighter future for those kids that you're talking about. Is that a correct assessment based on what you're saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you know what? The past is the past. And we can go back and change that. We can't go back and fix it. We can ponder on it, but it does not help. What's going to help is focusing on what the community can do now, today. No matter who gets it, who is in any official. Hey, whatever is best for now, moving forward, I am 100% for it. I don't think anybody needs to dwell on the past. Everything needs to be moved forward, and let's see what we can do now.
Okay, caller, one other question. When we look at around the country, I think it would be disingenuous for anybody to say that we do not have a drug problem. So having said that, what is it that you like to see when it comes to the community banding together, and we'll never eliminate drugs. But we can minimize or, make it to where you can push it away, and you can deal with it from that standpoint. What is it that you like to see for our youth? Because we have a renewal tax that's going on for recreation purposes. Would you like to see that money spent? And if so, how would you like for the sheriff's office and all these other agencies to coexist with regards to disseminating people out and minimizing the drug problem?
Well, as far as I can tell you from previous experience, the drug court system is set up for failure, because if someone wants to do drugs, they're going to do it. If they want to push it, make it, or sell it, they're going to do it. Keeping it out of our kids' hands is solely up to us as a parent, as a teacher, as a political figure, anyone in office. That is where you're going to keep it out of. But the main problem is when you can go to a drug meeting or a town hall, anything, meeting downtown in front of any local, state, or parish building and get or accumulate more drugs than you can on the streets, someone needs to open their eyes, because that is where it is coming from. Someone needs to open their eyes and say, where's these drugs coming from? If they're not coming from the streets and we're stopping that point, then it's coming from somewhere within our generalized area. People, the main thing my mom always told me was, you know what? Don't look around your area. Look dead in your face, and that's normally where you see it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
These days, don't be afraid of disloyal people. You need to be afraid of loyal people that you can trust, because that's the ones that is making it more harder for our children. And I have seen it on the front line, and it continues nonstop in that parish and in many other parishes, and it's so not fair for the upcoming generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not going to have an upcoming generation if it continues to carry on like this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Caller.
Whatever the whoever gets in as far as election, try to do something, man, positive. If it takes a little bit of extra money to get some sort of bigger community property, the community centers, the rec centers, get something positive for these kids to do on the weekends. Give them fundraisers, car washes, make them do community service at the nursing homes, anything to occupy their time and to see these old World War vets. Hey, go let them spend a day with those folks and give some time to that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they won't turn to the drugs and the drug dealing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, caller. I appreciate you calling in, talking live to us right here on the Smoking Glass Hour. Feel free to call in at any point in time. If there's a topic that you'd like for us to discuss, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be glad to do that. I know that some of the candidates are still on the line, and hopefully they'll take to judge themselves according with that information that you provided, because I do believe that at the end of the day, regardless as to how many people act like they are not concerned, when the smoke clear and the dust settle, when you see a lit young kid that's strung out on drugs, you cannot help but to have a compassionate heart. And if you don't, then you probably need to look in the mirror and check yourself. So, caller, thank you for calling in and providing us with that information.
Thank you so much, and you have a great night.
Okay. We have some back noise out there. I'm not sure if somebody's out there nailing a hammer or something like that. I think I may know who it is just from the board that's being lit up. So if you don't mind, just mute your phone, and you can continue to do what you're doing. You can listen live right here. We're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about the refugees. We know that the Syrian refugees are trying to come here and abroad from some of the things that's going on. I know that Mr. Ongerio Cameron is out there right now. Ongerio, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on the show, Byron.
Oh, appreciate it. Appreciate you calling in. Ongerio, it's really puzzling to me right now. We know that Facebook, social media can be a wonderful thing. We also know that the opposite of the wonderful thing, it can be very distasteful, very disheartening, and it can almost be downright just, I don't know the term to use. However, having said that, when we look at all of these things that are going on, when we look at what the Constitution of the United States has implied, when we look at what people are saying with regards to talking about these people, judging these people, assuming these people, what's your feeling on the current situation with the refugees?
Well, my current situation is that it is not conflict. It's not courage that creates conflict, but fear. And so we become afraid, and that's what makes us turn away. The world cannot be at peace until we all become humanitarians. So we have to become humanitarians, and we have to be receptive to that. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I see in this. I hear so much controversy against allowing them to be over here. But that's the primary. There's an old saying, violence begets violence. Well, evil begets evil, as does good begets good.
Mm-hmm.
We impose our values of good or our values of morality on another nation or another people, or people who are not in kind, and we may get them to respond that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we have to always kind of like take Jesus's how Jesus was such a very kind and benevolent spirit, and he did not get angry with Satan or get angry with evil or those who enslaved him. He was very loving, and he put himself on the lap of those who didn't even trust him.
Mm-hmm.
Those who hated him, who spit on him and beat him and lynched him, and he still died for them as well. So I think that we have to take his example, and we have to be good, and we have to be gracious, and we have to be open, because there is a light beyond this one that we will be judged by. And I think that people get so caught up in this world, and this is all it is, and this is mine, and this is what I'm going to do, and I don't want this. And so we go there. We go to a point where we become callous. We become hard-hearted, kind of like Pharaoh did with Moses, He was hard-hearted. He refused to let the slaves go. So I think that that's what we're doing right now. We're taking a page from Pharaoh instead of Moses. And I think Ramsey, if you want to say him, but that's what we're doing. We're becoming a callous nation that's so afraid of everything. And like I say, it's fear that creates war, not courage. Courage creates peace.
Mm-hmm.
Fear creates war.
So let me ask you this, Angerio. I don't think nobody in their right mind wants to allow individuals from another country to come into our country and purposely kill. Nobody wants that. Having said that, why is it that people who know that there are people within this country who are killing, but they look at that as being something totally different? Is a killer inside of your country better than a killer outside your country, or is it the same?
It is the absolute same. There's no difference in those who kill. Killing is killing. It's a crime and it's a sin. And see, those, you have a lot of people that is abroad where our country go over, and whether our bombs are inadvertently, and we call it collateral damage or whatever, for the people over there that get killed, they feel like that we're imposing our ideology on them in such a violent, mundane way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so they feel the same way that we do. And see, this is why there's so much hatred and separation in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's because fear begets fear.
Mm-hmm.
Evil begets evil. So why not let's try good begetting good? You see, we can't make nobody not have the ideology that they think, but we can hold our values and hope that they will conform to it. So that's the most that we can do in that. But killing, no matter where it's done at, is wrong, and it doesn't matter if it's an errant bomb. It doesn't justify the person person that got killed. It's not going to justify. He's going to be angry. He's not going to look at that and say, "Oh, well, they didn't mean to do it, so it's okay." That's not how that goes. So we have to embody the spirit of embracing, to show that those are not our values. If we want to bring these people across and get them to stop perhaps being evil or whatever. These people are being victimized in their own country the same way. And the only reason we're so callous is because we're not in the position that they in.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the position that they in, I guarantee you we'd be begging them to come over.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a thing on Facebook today where a woman asked, how come nobody is going over into Africa where they're being slaughtered? How come nobody's raising noise about that? We're so concerned about what's going on in Paris. Well, this is happening all around the world to lots of people. We can't police the whole world, but our values must stand strong, and they must be consistent. And we can't break those values of love, we are a nation of opportunity. We are the land of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll tell those people they can't come over here and have an opportunity.
Okay.
Then that makes us a liar on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Miss Gaza, Helen out of Houston, Texas. How are you doing tonight?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Vanessa, we're talking about the refugees. We started out talking about local and state politics, which we love to engage in all types of conversation. We're versatile. We are not one dimension here. Let me ask you this, Vanessa. I've always been told that a hypocrite is just what it is. If you look at what has gone on, the things that we say we have stood for, and the things that we're doing according to actions, is that hypocrisy, or how would you describe
it? Very much so. There's a lot of hypocrisy going on. But if people would just sit back and just get to the root of what really makes this world tick, and who's really calling the shots, and who's really doing this, and who's really doing that. Because if you notice, like Angeria was saying about separation, they're trying to separate everybody. Now it's not just here in America where, it's black and white, or, Hispanic and black, or Hispanic and white. It's not that anymore. They've advanced to the Muslims. Now all Muslims are bad according to the powers that be. All Syrians are bad according to the powers that be. That's what you call warmonger language. So when a war breaks out, then everybody has this attitude, oh, well, they deserved it. That's what propaganda does. It sets you up to hate somebody, and you don't even know why you hate that person.
So Ms. Ghazi, let me ask you this. On that point while you're there, sorry for cutting you off. When you talk about and use the word propaganda, do you feel that the media and all of those who are involved are strictly doing this from an intentional standpoint to continue to use the old term of divide and conquer?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Every day.
Mm-hmm. So if that be the case, Vanessa, and I'll let you come back in. If that be the case, what is it that people can do when you see so educated people? You see so many people that's unaware. You see that 90% or something close to that of African Americans don't read. They don't know what's going on. They just talk to me about that.
It's easy to do nothing. That's the simplest thing in the world to do, is just to sit back and do nothing. Especially when you feel like it really doesn't affect you. If it's not affecting the 3 square feet of air around you, it doesn't bother you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a problem. So if you don't see a problem, then what are you looking for a solution for? They have to see the problem. Once you see that problem in your face, you'll be surprised at what you're going to do to get it out of your face. But the thing is, we need to stop listening to superficial things, even superficial racism. What I mean by that is like what you see on the top. There's something at the bottom. There's a root. You got to find out where that root is rooted most deeply. It has to be uprooted. Now we're never going to distinguish racism, but it can be beaten. But the thing is, you have to be willing to recognize that this is what's causing the problem. When they start separating people, when you start talking about other people in other countries, and this person is, that country, you can't trust them. You can't trust the Russians. You can't trust them. You can't trust the Syrians now. One of them was a suicide bomber. Okay, now you just set the world up for another war. War means money. That's all it means. It means nothing else. And people have to understand that why did they start wars? You start wars with some of the poorest countries on the map. But there's money in it. And as long as there's money in it, there will always be a war.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They're going to always make you hate somebody.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Vanessa, you indicated from the outset that the powers that be, their assumption is all Muslims are bad, all Syrians are bad, and all other people, unlike them, are bad. Well, let me ask you this.
Right.
How can somebody be right all the time and everybody else is wrong all the time? I really don't understand that logic. I don't understand this thing about the Statue of Liberty. I don't understand this thing about freedom and justice for all. I don't understand this thing about equality in words, but actions are totally different. Talk to me a little bit about that.
That's just like anything else. It's kind of like dangling a carrot in front of your face, in front of a rabbit's face, and you keep snatching it away from him, but he knows the carrot is good. And if he'll always have that in his mind that if I can just get that carrot, I'll be satisfied, I'll be happy. It's kind of like they keep things at a distance, as far as, America was supposed to be built on values and morals and all this kind of stuff, but yet still, you see all this immorality, you see all this hatred, you see all this, warmongering, you see all these bad things happening in America, but everybody still has that, that mentality that I'm a patriot, or this is the greatest country in the world, and they stick with that. That's stuck in everybody's mind. And they don't see some of the other things that are going on. Not really, because like I said, if it doesn't touch you personally, it doesn't matter. It's not really. You can see it on the news, but then you just go back to doing what you were doing 15 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have a passion to want to change the world. You have to have an absolute, it has to almost be in your blood, ingrained in you, to want to make a difference in this world. If you don't want to make a difference, then you just, you're going to step aside, and then you're going to act like, well, I don't see anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So if they say the Syrians can't come over here, then don't let them come over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's simple just to leave it alone instead of fighting for something. Some people won't fight for anything. Some people won't fight for their own life.
Mm-hmm.
Their own existence. So when you get that kind of passion and fire in your soul and in your mind, and remember that God created this world, this universe, this galaxy. He created it for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
He created just 1% of the people. This whole world is ours. It's everybody. We all supposed to be enjoying it, but we're not. But yet and still, you raising this flag up and telling everybody, hip hip hooray for America. But it's things that we're not even allowed to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So like I said, you just have to think deeper than on the surface. You have to dig and see what's really, really going on.
Okay. I'll tell you, Ontario. And this is to Vanessa and Ontario. There's supposed to be I just got a message ask me if I see a number for John Bell Edwards, the governor. He was asked to call in. I'm not sure if that number's out there yet, but if it does come up, we will pause for the candidate that's running for the gubernatorial election here in the state of Louisiana. We will pause for that. I'm not sure if he's out there. But let me ask you this question, and I make this comment first. I was reading today, and I came across something that says those involved in the resettlement of refugees, including 3 senior administration officials, said the process is already intensely secure and goes far beyond other standards for allowing admission into the country. The comment also says, I think a lot of the questions we are getting right now are from members of Congress who are just learning about the program for the first time. One administration official said when asked about the claims that the screening process is not sufficient. That process, officials explain. I want to make sure everybody hear this. That process, officials explain, usually begins with the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, referring asylum seekers to the U.S. government. Before anyone working for Washington looks into these refugees, the UN agency has conducted a series of background and identity checks, biometric screening through iris scans, and selected the most vulnerable individuals to be resettled, according to Brian Hansford, the United Nations agency, a Washington, D.C. spokesman. Now, here's the startling effect. It says that less than 1% of global refugee population is recommended for resettlement. Vanessa, does this go back to your point of propaganda where these United States elected officials are just now learning about the process themselves, and rather than putting out the correct information, they are trying to spew this divide and conquer? Angerio, Vanessa, I'll start with you, Angerio. Angerio, do you feel that this is a disservice and an injustice to the American people for lying?
It is a disservice and an injustice to the American people. When you have a crisis, a serious crisis like the ones they got, you don't have you're not afforded the time to vet all of these people. You got to act. That's what, it's kind of like FEMA do when a earthquake happens. Well, these people, this is their earthquake in a sense. It's not a land earthquake, but these people are in a crisis. And they're in a serious crisis, and their help is imminent. They need to, and imminent means right now. So we have to, if we really harbor the values that we claim that we harbor, it doesn't really matter if they understand the policies or not. This is a crisis that these people are in, and they need help. And this is where leadership comes in. And I think Barack got it spot on. Let's bring these people over. You got so many governors now, and here's what she's talking about, the media with the propaganda, where they like to create this crisis, not necessarily to divide and conquer. Their primary interest is ratings and money. Same thing as the politicians up there. Their values are created in wealth and money. It's not about the values of their moral perspective. It's about the wealth and the currency. And this is why America has failed so many people, because they put this is what they consider a great country because it's rich, because it has resources, because it has power, not because it has a humanitarian love for the world. And because when you have a humanitarian love, you take it where the help is needed, and the help is needed all around the world. Mm-hmm. So we can't say let's help these people over here, but not help these people over here. It's just not. It's just not right. There's injustice at every level. So we have to be mindful of that, and we have to look at the true emergency that these people are in, and ask ourselves, this is a teachable moment for us. What are we going to do to help these people if we are the world leaders? Are we going to stand there and put a stop sign at it and say, not in my backyard? Or are we going to be and stand up on the values and words? This is one of the things I said about so many politicians. They get up there and they tell you all kind of lies until they get elected. Once they get elected, then they tend to go with the system. They fill into the system and they fall into it, and most of the promises that they promised never get done. And they know it's not going to get done because it's not predicated just on what your policy is. It takes a whole lot of people to come together to pass a policy, to get a bill through. And these people want to sit here and have a vote on these people coming over here. They want to sit and vote and deny them or see if it's okay to come over while they're in a crisis. It's absurd. It's absurd. To me, it's just totally absurd. Mm-hmm. It's going to help these people. They're in a crisis. Help them.
Right.
Help them. I understand the security risk and all of that. You're in a crisis. We're in a security risk when we go over there and help them. It doesn't seem to bother us.
I can't think his name, Oklahoma City. Was that a security situation?
Timmy McVeigh?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about the Oklahoma City bombing?
Correct.
We get lured to sleep in this country when things are settled down for so long. We get complacent, and sometimes we take our eye off the ball, and people do bad things. A person that's hell bent on destroying and destruction almost will be able to do it. You almost can't prevent that, but to the degree that you can, you can. We have pretty good. I think George Bush, one of the things, I'm not necessarily a Republican, but one of the things I like that he said that he was so right about is we have to be right every time. The terrorists only got to be right once. That changes the whole world when that happens. So that was a very good quote that he made right there. Mm-hmm. And that's so whole truth. So when they did that, it created a callousness out of fear. that we got to be so vigilant that we can't trust nobody now, because anybody might harm us. And that ain't nothing but the devil. That's how the devil operates, manipulates, and controls. You know, and so we have to be mindful that we don't follow Satan's satanic ways, and that we continue to follow a Christ-like value that we believe in. Our country was founded on Christian values, you know, and so we have to return to those Christian values, and we cannot let fear separate us from our Christian values.
So, Vanessa, how is it that most people that I see from the African-American population, they are in favor of refugees, helping a neighbor, helping a friend, and all those other things? Then when you flip over and you look at the majority, how is it that there can be it can be like night and day? Some have the compassion, believe in living out the creed of what this so-called Constitution, whatever you want to call it, has. The president is trying to live up to this thing. I'm almost certain that he's concerned about security. Let me ask you this. Let me flip over, Vanessa. Why is it that this guy is continued to be called a Muslim? Okay, and he said he's not. But if you flip it over, somebody else says that they're not a racist. You're supposed to believe that, but you're not supposed to say that you are because you're saying you're not. I'm not understanding this, and it's creating a lot of frustration. It's creating a lot of division, and at some point in time, the lids are going to start blowing on a lot of people. Talk to me about that. How can everybody else be so right, and at the same time, all others are wrong?
Well, I think things are kind of like coming to a head. It's almost like a volcano, a sleeping volcano, and it's going to erupt. And as far as I've heard people, saying, "Oh, well, he's a Muslim." Well, my name is Ghazi. That's a Muslim name. My name is Muslim, not me. I've never been a Muslim. I'm a Christian. So if somebody sees my name and well, Ghazi, well, she's a Muslim. No, my husband's a Muslim. But the thing is, people, they get fixed on things. They get, and the media is no better because it causes you to get. Always been able to do that. This isn't nothing new. Refugees have been coming here for centuries. So why is this something new? That's what I'm not understanding. Why they treat me like it's brand new. These people, you've had refugees forever coming to America. Now all of a sudden it's a problem.
Well,
and the black people we can associate with another people that are being oppressed, because oppressed people can relate to oppressed people. If you're not an oppressed person, you don't understand what that other country is going through.
So Ms. Ghazi, let's just say you run for office, and somebody, like you just said, automatically assumes that because it's Ghazi that you are Muslim. That's right for them. But if they are running and look totally opposite of you, and you say that they're racist, why is that? I mean, I keep using this example because it's the only one I can come up with. Why is it that everybody else appears to be that they are right, and anytime you make a suggestion, anytime you say something, he's wrong? Now, why would this man continue to say that he is a Christian, and because his last name is Barack Hussein Obama, like your name is, why is it that he's got to be wrong about himself and somebody else has got to be right about him? Again, I think it's totally unfair when we for centuries of years rather, we've said that there should be no litmus test when it comes to religion. And I heard Secretary General Colin Powell say today, so what if he is a Muslim? Why should it matter? Why should it matter? So the question is, why is everybody trying, Ongerio, talk to me. I don't even want to ask that question. Talk to me.
Well, I have to agree 100% with Brother Powell. That's going to be my next statement. So what if he's a Muslim? The difference is we're going to run our values on the fact that we don't judge people based on religion. What is the problem if he is a Muslim? Because there's a racist element to it. There is just, honest to God, a racist element in anybody, and I'm going to say it and people don't like this, but almost anybody who is not white is not worthy of running that position. It's just the truth. It's the truth. It's how America has seen it. It's how the slave master seen it. And it's the ideology he passed down to his descendants. And it's the absolute truth. They don't like to face it. The truth sometimes hurt. But that's a reality. They are the descendants of the slave masters, so this is an inheritance of theirs. Who want to give up their inheritance? And that's what they feel like they're doing, giving up their inheritance if they give up their White House to somebody other than a person that's a white. You know, that's just the reality. They don't like Barack being there, not because they don't like him because he's black. That's just a flat-out thing. No black man should hold that power in many of them's eyes. I ain't saying every last one of them like that, but there's a vast majority of the senators up there who, and I mean both Democrat and Republicans, who harbor this sadistic mentality of supremacy. And they do not believe that black people are entitled to the position of a president over this nation. And that's just their, and it's not just a black man. I mean, anybody that is different than them. And that's the part that hurts me about this country, because we will never realize the full potential of how great we could be until those kind of minds stop thinking like that.
So Ontario, is it is it fair to say then that because you're not the only person that think that. And when you talk about it to other people, which, you know, I'm getting to the point now, it doesn't really even matter now, because if you're not going to listen to what somebody else is saying and try to understand, there's always a cause and effect. Because of what you have done the previous years, the previous decades, there's an effect that's taking place now. So when you look at it and say, okay, action speaks louder than words. Nobody that I have known in my adult life, and I've been following politics for a long time, President George Bush, whom I did not like, but I respected him as the president of the United States. I got into a conversation with a guy yesterday saying that, okay, this is not my president. I say, you know, that is the most stinking thinking that I've ever heard of. Now, all of these years prior to this man, I said, which one of these presidents was not your president? He never answered the question. So my thing is this: if you dislike the man because of his color and you tell me that, I can respect you. But if you dislike this man because of his color and you try to use some other type of smokescreen, I disagree with that. There are people who dislike me because of what I do. Well, that's fine. You're not going to stop me from trying to make a difference because you choose to sit silent and I choose to be vocal and talk about things that matter. I don't like preferential treatment. Okay, I don't like for somebody else to get the upper. I don't like for somebody to feel that they are entitled to get something without going out and earn. I have to earn it. So when you look at all of this stuff that's out there, it appears to me that there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. And Vanessa, as I said earlier, before it's over with, there's going to be a lot of lids that are blown because Facebook is allowing a lot of things to be said from people that you thought you knew. And you end up finding out that you really didn't know them because Facebook allows cowards to become courageous. So when you look at all this, Ontario, how do we even begin to make a difference when some people have said for years they want to make a difference? Now they have the opportunity to. They're reneging on the promise. Talk to me.
I think that you make a difference by creating shows just like this one where you bring these issues before the public. And you confront those people. You challenge them to come on this show, to have the courage to speak out. That's one of the things I hear you say before your programs. If you got the courage, call in. So that's the best thing that we can do. We can't make them call in, but we can extend the invitation for them to join into the dialogue and express their views and be confronted on their views, or one can agree with their views. Well, you know, but the point of it is we got to have open discussions just like this that are fair and honest. I don't want to silence nobody from their views, but I think a good discussion is where you bring the art of persuasion into it's much like what politicians do. Their whole job is to convince you to their way of thinking, but you got to have a dialogue in order to do that. So that's how you begin the decorum of bridging a conversation. And you don't have to, it's like you say, you don't always have to agree with President Bush's policy, but he was all our president.
Exactly.
We liked him or not, he was our president.
And Ontario, the other thing that bothers me is if you say, well, let me put it to you this way. If Ontario Cameron goes on his page and says that President George Bush is not my president, I'm going to come on and tell you the same thing. My question is when other people that say that they are for diversity, they are for progress, and then somebody that look like them say it, and they don't say anything, they hide. They run like a coward. They put the tail between their legs. So what you're telling me is that your words are not they're not adding up to your action. And if it sounds like there's a little frustration, yes, it is. But I'm in well control of who I am and what I'm doing. The reason why people won't come on here is because if you don't like the messenger, you're so caught up into blindness to where you don't like the message, even if it's the right thing. So, Ontario, what I do is this. I offer the opportunity for people to come on and talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to get out and try to give a person $1,000 to come on when they can come on for free. So if it takes the listening audience that's out there, because the majority of the people that know me personally, I'm not talking about heard of me, but know me personally, they know that what I'm doing is coming from the bottom of my heart, the depths of my heart. So I appreciate you guys willing to come in, join the conversation, and talk about these things, because here it is. We cannot make a difference. But Vanessa she bothered me from a professional standpoint on the other side. She just said this, that her last name is Ghazi, Ghazi. I've been knowing Vanessa probably for about 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. I have never seen her do anything other than help somebody. I have never seen her talk about strapping on a bomb of any kind. So when you look at all of this stinking thinking, when you look at all of this ignorance, all of this arrogance, all of this power that's leading to destruction based on some people, my question is this. Why should she be judged based on her last name before anybody give her the option to judge her on her character? Talk to me, Vanessa.
Unfortunately, that's the way of the world, because even the lady that was talking earlier when you had the election thing on, and the lady that was talking about where drugs and stuff come from and kids using the drugs, she is the kind of person that I'm talking about as far as digging and finding out why things happen. And if somebody, looks at me and tells me that I'm a Muslim because my last name is Ghazi, then I'm just going, I'll be polite and say, well, no, I'm not a Muslim. And then they may ask me, well, how come your last name is Ghazi? I'm okay, because I'm married to somebody whose last name is Ghazi. But the thing is, people get this fixation in their head. You get this you go by what the news tells you. And as far as, like when you say that they keep saying that Obama is a Muslim, okay, the Muslims are, quote unquote, America's enemies right now. So if his name is Barack Obama, which is a Muslim name, now you're attaching terrorists to his name, because that's the way you want to see him. You don't want to just come out and say, well, I don't like him because he's black. I don't like him because he's a Muslim. Well, you might as well just say you don't like him because he's black, because he's not a Muslim. Muslims don't go into Christian churches.
Exactly. And to my understanding, Vanessa, and I correct me if I'm wrong, a minister, somebody told me this, I'm not sure, and I don't want to put out false information, so I ask. Is one of their, whatever you want to call it, are they supposed to denounce certain things about Christ? I'm not sure. I'm asking.
Well, I can only go by my husband, and he was what I call not a practicing Muslim, but his mother was. She prayed 5 times a day. I really don't know exactly what it is that they denounce or what they give up, but he was never really a practicing Muslim. The only thing that he ever did was Ramadan. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I knew he did. But other than that, he's Americanized.
But Vanessa, and I have to keep butting in. if the most powerful man on this planet used to be, before he became president, the president of the office was the most powerful office. Now it seems that it's the most watered down office. It has no respect or whatever. So if they do not like him for being President Barack Hussein Obama, what does that say about people liking Vanessa Ghazi, or judging her, or assuming that she's a Muslim, which you just said you have absolutely nothing to do with it? You see the parallel I'm trying to draw? The unfairness.
I know exactly what you're saying.
And my question is, for those who are supposed to be here's the deal, Vanessa. If somebody would have come and asked me, why do I dislike President George Bush? I would have told him that. Okay, if somebody came and asked me why I dislike Donald Rumsfeld or Dick Cheney or Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, I would have told them that, and still will tell them that. So if I ask you, why do you dislike this man? Because you're saying, well, he's violating the Constitution. Well, this man is a constitutional scholar. Okay, he was the president of the Harvard Law Review. He graduated at the top of he's done everything that America has sold you with regards to the promise. And now that he's received the promise, you try to demoralize the guy. I have a problem with anybody who comes in and try to destroy the gift and the talent that God gives a person. Give it to them rather than trying to take it away. Ongerio, your name is Ongerio. I'm not sure what the origin is, but do people judge you based on Ongerio, not knowing anything about Ongerio?
Well, actually, most people would think I'm a Latin person, or because it's a Latin name. Most people would think that's more of a Latin thing. But I don't really run into too much conflictual problems about that. But can you imagine if Muslims start naming themselves Americans? How confused it would mess America up. It would up if they did that. And see, over here in this country, blacks are generally the only race who will go outside and have the courage to name their children names that are conducive with the motherland, or conducive with where they believe their origin originated, because our names were taken from us, which is what Malcolm X dubbed the name X. To answer that question about Jesus Christ, most Muslims believe that he was not the son of God, but a prophet. And so that's really the basic difference between what Christianities believe about Jesus Christ,
right,
and what Muslims believe about him.
I believe, Vanessa, we have a good friend, Mr. Walker from Michigan. Mr. Walker, would you like to join into the conversation? We got about 9 minutes left.
Oh, no, I just wanted to say hi to Vanessa. I'm just a listener. Thank you.
Okay. We know that you're hailing out of Michigan, and we appreciate you coming on. Feel free to come on any broadcast we have. We are talking tonight about local and state politics. We're talking about the refugees being mistreated. We're talking about how the word, the letter, the acronym, or whatever you want to call it, Muslim, has been attached to people that are good, that are God-fearing, that are whatever. And all of a sudden, because the president's name is attached to him being born of that name, people are holding that against him. You've been knowing Vanessa all your life. Let me just ask this one question. Her last name is Ghazi. Why would a person judge her based on her last name?
Ignorant.
So based on what you're saying is that when people exercise that attribute, it boils down to their ignorance and their stupidity.
Exactly.
Okay.
Get it better myself.
Okay, Vanessa, once again, like I said, we're going to continue to talk about women's rights, equal rights.
Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Question.
Go ahead.
On the topic of women's rights, when all these sisters were dying in custody and getting choked to death for jaywalking and chewing gum, where were the white women's groups that seem to want equal rights for all women? Here, Pete. I mean, I haven't been in a coma. I've been living in the cave, but did y'all hear anything?
Good question. That's good observation.
Good question, caller. And we will address that. That had another call out there. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, this is Lorraine.
Hey, how you doing?
I put it on Facebook, and as far as Vanessa, I think the world of her. I've never met her, never even considered her last name being Muslim, because she's, to me, she's a mighty fine lady. And I have nothing against anybody's religion, but my question is, if we all of a sudden have all this house and everything for these refugees coming over, then why haven't we been able to give free housing to these men and women that has been overseas fighting for our rights, our freedom, but yet when they get back to America with lost limbs and everything else, America don't have enough money to take care of them.
That is a very valid question, and I think it's one
all of these kids that are living on the streets that don't have parents that have to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we help them? Why do we have to help these people from other countries before we help our own?
Well,
Understand that.
I agree with you. I think that's a very valid question. And now, if since I'm answering that question, and Vanessa, Ontario, anybody else is out there, you can chime in. I'm not sure Jesus would make a distinction between somebody from overseas or whether somebody is here and abroad. I think when a person needs help, I think they need help. But I do agree with you 100%. We have too many homeless people that are on the streets. We have too many people that have gone over and fought a war and come back home, and they are very, very disrepresented. They are actually not getting all the benefits that they have. So I agree with your caller 100%, and I think that's another topic that we need to talk about. We need to have more voices that's out there, because here's one thing I dislike. I hate for people to get out there and be typing warriors on Facebook and will say everything that they can say, but they won't call in and talk live on these broadcasts, because these broadcasts go all over. They go all over the world. There are representatives that's out there listening. There are people that's out there running for office listening. And our voice can make a difference. So, caller, you have a very valid question. Ontario, Vanessa, Mr. What, anybody else out there want to address that, they may do so.
Yeah, I'd like to address on that.
Go ahead.
The best kind of coward is one that remains anonymous.
Okay.
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead, caller.
Okay, with all these people out there listening, and I hope this hits the right ears, there's a lot of abused children out there that has always been dear to my heart. Any child that is being abused, why can't there be as much concern about that as it is about some of this other stuff? Because they're innocent little children that cannot fight for themselves, but they need the grown-ups to defend them, but yet they're being mistreated unmercifully day by day.
Hey, caller, I'll tell you, I should have done what I started out to do. I should have scheduled this for 2 hours. We're looking at about 9:26. We're looking at about 4 minutes left. I'm going to go down the line. Ontario, I'll give you a minute. Vanessa, I'll give you a minute. Mr. Walker, I'll give you a minute. And I hate it, but I'll tell you what. If you guys are willing to do this, we will pick right back up here, maybe even Saturday or Monday night. I may even do it Sunday. But I will let you guys know, because I think the conversation needs to continue on. We don't need to be afraid. We don't need to become complacent. Ontario, Vanessa, and Mr. Walker, if he's out there, if anybody else, they may do so. Ontario, give me about 45 seconds to a minute closing.
Okay, just to answer that young woman's question about why America treats so many troops bad when they come back home, it goes back to a thinking that President Kennedy once said, and that is, ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country. Well, this has descended down through the years to where our politicians believe that that's exactly the concept of it. You do for your country. Our country don't owe you anything. And so this is a mindset that has just decimated our hearts, and it has turned them so callous and hard, so we don't help people who are actually putting their lives on the line for us on a daily basis to protect the freedoms that we enjoy. But it comes from the concept that Kennedy did, head of asking not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country. So this is why our state is in such a peril in this nation, is because we have misunderstood and misrepresented what that meant. Mm-hmm. He didn't mean to literally ignore your people, but that's the process that it's been descended into.
Okay, Ontario, I hate to do this. Vanessa, come in.
Well, I just think that it kind of shows people, or it should show people, exactly who you're dealing with.
Uh-huh.
But if you can't take people in your own country, and you're going to take care of some other people from another country, or even if you say they're not coming, they can't come over here. Look at the people that you're dealing with. These are the kind of people that are in power. So these are the ones that you voted in office.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Walker, you still out there?
I'm still here.
Okay, got about 30 seconds.
I just make it short and simple. When I was homeless, nobody cared about me, and then nobody chose to really deal with the problem. But the man upstairs took care of me, and that's all I asked anyway, because nobody else would, and I wasn't out there begging. I asked for two things: not to eat out of a garbage can and not to beg for change. And I didn't do either one.
May the good Lord continue to bless you, and may you continue to be an inspiration to those who you come in contact with. We're looking at about 9:29 p.m. Central Standard Time. You've been listening to Local and State Politics, the runoff election for November 21st of 2015. I want to thank Clay Bennett, candidate for sheriff, for calling in. David May, candidate for clerk of court, calling in. I want to thank all of those callers from different parts of the country calling in and participating with the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass, because we believe when you talk, people listen. And when people listen, they understand that they cannot just continue to do the things that they want to do. We hope that everybody become a part of the process, become a part of making a difference. You've been listening to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. Have a great night, and may the good Lord bless you. See you tomorrow, Friday afternoon. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.